never predicted or thought it'd be a fight like this. I thought it'd be competitive, but I didn't think it'd be like this in a million years.
Fight of the year contender?
Well, I mean, the whole card was every fight on the card was a contender for fight of the year, but that was just something. I mean, I can't think of a, in recent. I mean, Tyson and Usyk, the class that they are, both winning in that unification match. That was a tremendous heavyweight fight, and this at the level it's at was also, without a doubt.
I know he's not always been the easiest person to deal with, Derek, but when he uses a moment like that, and it still comes to mind to thank you for your part and to remember Dean Powell.
I've got to be honest, it's like you're sort of listening, and there are not words for it really, because Dean worked for me for many years, and I mean, anybody, maybe some of you younger guys won't know who he was, but he was our matchmaker, and he tragically committed suicide, and he was quite close with Derek and so forth, and so it was a terrible loss. But for him to mention him, I thought was very classy.
Just off topic briefly, what do you think of Dennis McCann's performance tonight?
Well, I thought that was a great fight. I thought he really boxed. He boxed extremely well against a guy who's got, plenty of ticker. He's got, he comes to fight. He all the way through was coming to fight. And I thought Dennis boxed very maturely. He become of age tonight. He definitely came of age, and that was a fabulous performance. And there's some really big fights to be made now for him. There's another great domestic bust-up between him and Liam. Down the road. There's just some really cracking fights that are there to be made.
Is Liam versus Shabazz still what you want to do?
Sorry?
Liam and Shabazz, is that still what you want to do this year?
Well, that's going on first of all. That will go on when they're fit, but that'll probably go on in. I'm probably being a bit presumptuous saying that he wins the fight, and Shabazz had a good win out last time, didn't he? With a tremendous finish. But it's just boxing's so lively now. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The fights are out there, the excitement. We had a great show last week. I mean, this show tonight was just like was just a fabulous night. If you're boxing fans, it don't get no better than this.
Frank, how good was working on Moses and Itauma? I mean, the sky's the limit for him after that win.
Well, that for me was a fight where I was hoping we'd get some rounds, because I feel he needs to get some rounds under his belt. And you look at Wok. He's been the sort of gatekeeper for young heavyweights who coming through the ranks. Fraser Clark, Hughie Fury, Dillian Whyte, and all the older ones going back over the years, going back, and none of them stopped him. And they were all, and they were not. Certainly, Fraser Clark isn't a young heavyweight when he fought him. Moses is 19. He's a teenager, and the way he dealt with it was unbelievable. And funny, Alex Krasik and Usyk both sitting there. They looked, and both of them said at the same time, "This is the future of the heavyweight division."
I know he's only young then. Do you try and find him rounds, or do you kind of let him off the leash? Obviously, that from back.
Look, listen. You got to get rid of people in the ring. I want to see. I like at this stage of his career, seeing, somebody setting him some problems to solve in the ring. But he's got a superb jab. He's got unbelievably fast hands. Footwork's really good, and more importantly, when he lands those bombs on you, it's lights out. I mean, that was I think that was a bit of a statement from a 19-year-old kid.
And Ryan Garner got excellent against Archie Sharp tonight as well.
Yeah. I mean, that was a cracker of a fight, wasn't it? I mean, they were just all good fights, and that looked like the first 3 rounds that Archie was going to be on his toes, and he's going to sort of have to try and figure out how he was going to break him down and get to him. But he stayed at his task and done what he had to do, and came through. And he's had when I signed him, young Ryan, I thought he's one of our really good quality potential stars, and he started off like that. And I mean, if you've any old footage around, I waxed lyrical about him and how impressed I was. But he had a few problems outside the ring, and he went off the rails a bit. But we stayed with him. If you remember, he weighed in at 2 weigh-ins. He fainted twice. And we pulled him off the card, and that was because he was doing the weight at the last minute because he wasn't training properly, and that's very dangerous for him to do that. But then he had a couple of problems, but he's turned his life around. He's married now. He's got a child. He's got another one on the way, and I'm thrilled for him because he's a really good little fighter. You know, Archie sort of had a little period of inactivity for whatever reasons. He's 25-0. He was number 1 in 2 of the organisations as mandatory challenger, but he's in activity. They dropped him down, I think, to 3 and 4 in the respective ratings. But he's this for him is for Ryan is brilliant.
Is it about negotiating Ryan into that kind of world title position now?
Oh, we'll do that. I mean, that's a no-brainer for us. I mean, we'll do that. We'll keep him going. I want to do a show down there. You know, you got Ryan. You got we've got Mark Chamberlain. We've got young Royston, who done well tonight. You know, stepped up and had his first sort of little bit of a test, and we've got a couple of other youngsters from down there. I think we're definitely doing a show down on the South Coast before the end of the year.
Frank, we've seen a lot of fights in the heavyweight division being made, especially with Turkey, Ala Sheikh's influence on boxing, and you spoke about wanting Moses to get rounds in. Is a fight with Jared Anderson something you'd be willing to open for Moses?
He's fighting, isn't he, next week?
Yeah. But
so we'll see. Let's see if he comes through his fight. He's fighting Bacoli.
If he can get a win against Martin Bacoli, is that something you'd be interested in?
Let's see what happens. Let's see how that goes. That's next week. That's another Riyadh season event, and that's a cracking card. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Frank, how close do you feel Joyce was potentially to stopping Chisora in the later rounds?
Say it again.
How close do you think Joe is to stopping Chisora towards the later rounds?
I thought it was a couple of times he was. I really do. And I thought it was a couple of times Joe got caught with some really big shots as well. I mean, it seemed like it was a shock for them to miss. I mean, they were throwing, they were catching each other with. I mean, it was unbelievable, the resilience there. But one minute you thought Derek was going, and suddenly he comes back throwing 4 or 5 punch combinations with some good shots. Then it went the other way. It was a very close fight, and I think, as I say, the last 2 rounds, the tide turned for Derek.
Not to discredit Derek, but what do you feel Joyce could have done better to maybe see through that stuff?
Used his jab more. Yeah. Like you look at that jab he was using against Joe Parker. That wasn't. There was a couple of times he was really looking good when he threw the jab, but he weren't throwing it enough.
Is it a case of instruction, or do you feel you maybe can't do it?
I'm sure they were telling him to do the right thing, but he's doing it. Sometimes when you see 2 guys fighting like that, first of all, it's their age, and you wonder what they got left in the tank. Wonder what it is, and and they just self-defense or defense goes out the window. It's like a Victor McLagan and John Wayne fight. That's before your time, most of you.
Anything in the contract with your rematch, Frank?
It's too soon to talk about that. Honestly, I mean, that was such a unbelievable fight. And if there were going to be one, that would have to be down the road, I'll tell you that, because those guys are going to need plenty of time to recover after that fight.
Frank, Dillian White was ringside and he was talking to Chisora's management about a trilogy. Is that something you'd be interested in making?
He's got to get licensed first, isn't he? If he gets licensed, then we'll talk about it.
Frank, can I ask you about Jermaine's debut? What did you think?
Sorry, who?
Jermaine, Derek's...
I didn't see it. I haven't seen it. I'll look back at it. How did it look?
I didn't even watch it, actually. Do you know what the guys watching it?
Poor sod. Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, because you started the show early.
Yeah. No, I
do you think
saw
it's
it.
got a future? Couple more questions.
I'd like to have. I'm sure he has. If he fights like his uncle, then he'll have a future. There's no doubt about it.